WPCZ Demarest. You're listening to the Sunday Bummer Club.
Hey, Piedmont College, getting off to a late start on the Sunday Bummer Club. This year, to celebrate the convergence of ceremonial ashes and commercial offerings, I will be playing songs of love and mourning, including some classic Killing Joke, also School of Seven Bells, Chelsea Wolfe, and more. A little later on this hour, Piedmont alum Harley Palmer will be joining me live in the studio, reading some of her original poetry. It's going to be good, so don't go away. I'm Paige Dukes, and you are listening to the Sunday Bummer Club.
There are so many things I wish I knew how to say in a way that you'd understand, but I can't. So many times I've tried looking into your eyes for a sign that maybe you feel the same, but you don't.
Seven Bells was Benjamin Curtis and sisters Alejandra and Claudia De Heza. The track you just heard was ILU. In February of 2013, Curtis was diagnosed with lymphoma, and he died on December 29th of that year after recording a cover of Joey Ramone's I Get Knocked Down in the hospital. Joey also died tragically of lymphoma. Now I will play some more music, but first, the weather. The National Weather Service has issued a flood advisory for northern Habersham County until 7:30. Showers, obviously, tonight with a low of 58 and possible thunder. Monday, high of 72. Clouds in the morning, sun in the afternoon. Tomorrow night, expect some drizzle, low of 43 degrees. Currently in Demarest at 6:16, we have flood advisory in effect till 7:30 p.m. The temperature is 63 degrees, and you're listening to the Sunday Bummer Club.
Soldiers in the field.
Joke with the song Love Like Blood, the second single off their second album, Nighttime, released in February of 1985. Today, I have in the studio with me Piedmont alum Harley Palmer. Harley graduated last May with a degree in literature, and she is going to treat us to a reading of her original poetry. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Harley. Yeah, let's do it.
The first piece is called Blake Earthworm, and it was published in Trillium. Without contrary, there is no progression. All you need is some creative tension. Belief is a byproduct of will. Evil is just the energies of life, which fulfill the soul, therefore the body, for they are but one, the principle of humanity. The devil reminds us all to know, those who restrain desire do so because theirs is weak enough to be restrained. But I want nothing more than to be maintained with some paradoxical balance in this paradoxical life. The tiger feasts on the lamb, both created from the same hand, and I am a tiger and a lamb, feasting on my own hand. Energy resonates within my soul as I live and die in this world, the unknown. Binary, contrary, dysentery, arbitrary, ordinary. Political innocence potentializes sensible experience. Mind fights, it's fighting all the time. Not me, not what you see, not what I see, changing with the seas, changing with the stars, moon, light, cry through the night, failing to fly. I gaze at the sky which weeps by my own eyes.
Right, thank you. So I want to ask about the title, because to me it looks like it could be Bleak Earthworm or it could be Blake Earthworm. Is that a reference to William Blake?
So there's definitely a reference to William Blake here. He is a romantic poet, and from The Marriage of Heaven and Hell to the songs of innocence and experience, he really plays with these dualities and these binaries that humanity comes across. So we have all the ups and the downs, and they sort of blend together in this experience, and people want to call it good or bad or evil or right or wrong, but really it's just energy and part of the human experience. So Blake Earthworm is definitely there. The AE dipgraph, though, also should read to some people as bleak, bleak being something that lacks vegetation and is exposed to the elements. And then we have earthworm to follow that. And earthworms are usually found in living soil, so they sort of complement each other as their own sort of binary, contrary, dysentery. And then to kind of follow that later in the poem, the line, those who restrain desire do so because theirs is weak enough to be restrained, is a direct quote from The Marriage of Heaven and Hell, and that exemplifies, again, this sort of binary that we have in our own experiences and in our own lives. So the devil's not the devil as you may think him to be or know him to be.
I also was really struck by a line early on in the poem that said, belief is a byproduct of will.
I really like this line as well, byproduct being a side effect or a consequence. So belief is something that follows your own will. Your will you either can or can't control, depending on your perspective. But what you believe will always follow that will. And I really like that you pointed to each of those lines. When I wrote this poem, I was supposed to be paying attention in class, but I was so overtaken with Blake that I just started scribbling, and this really became my first actual poem, and I have trimmed it up and cut it down and moved it around since then. But that kind of sticks out to me in relation to the experience I had writing it, because I'm supposed to be sitting in class at my desk listening to this lecture, and I'm like, oh, I really want and need to pay attention, but I also have to get this out. So there's that tension again of listen or speak, do or say. So that'll do for good old Blake today. And I'll just read one more because I'm really excited to hear your next song. So this poem is called Incomplete Again. Who are you coming into my mind again? Our mind again? These minds again? I am he and echt isma. Is there any consciousness you do not know? We do not know? Unconsciousness? Any and all, we are linked through an infinitesimal and infinite webwork, a connection of communication, the earthly, unearthly, past, present, and future, subhuman and superhuman. Let's go, soul resonance. Do you get my vibe? Do you feel me? Can you catch my drift? It all exists within you, me, we. The human is just a soul, and a soul is emotion in conjunction with the recollection of emotion, memories among fantasies. The tadpole of my older self frolics with the star spirit of my infancy, a journey continuing in to the collective future of all pasts. And to just put a brief word with this, incomplete again, we look at the human, the individual, with memories and fantasies, past, present, and future. All of these are different pieces of ourselves, both in conversation with each other and just acting separately of conversation with each other. So I like to think of this poem as a piece that can be read by several different voices.
In her own voice, Harley Palmer, Piedmont graduate. I'm Paige Dukes, and you're listening to the Sunday Bummer Club.
Sadness, I can't
Chelsea Wolfe, Northern California singer-songwriter with The Color of Blood. Chelsea's father has a recording studio where he used to record country music, and she started recording herself there at the age of 9. Now we're going to get back to some more poetry with Harley Palmer, Piedmont alum. And what do you have for us next?
This next piece is called Not Progress, and I'll just dive right into it. Not progress. We've always had identity, but we've never had an identity, and any philosophy we thought agreed upon is shot. I said to myself, head is everywhere except where I want it to be. Then how is it there? Mind separate from body, the severing towards eternity, the parting of worlds. Infinity and blackness blanket consciousness, awareness and knowing. Mind separate from mind, yours and mine. We walk separate lines, we keep separate time, but we know time is no time. Dimensions perhaps exist even on maps. Don't step out of line. And on these lines, do we see signs? Are we just following the rules? Being led the way, a self of selves floating not astray, for the way is to be played in the hand of another. Another, self within a self of selves, we keep them locked in cells until their day is due. Perhaps they too, though, are true. They feel with and without, me, we, they, or you. And then I'll read the next one as well, and if you have any questions, we can bounce back. This next piece is called Obstructive Pumpkin, also published in Piedmont's Trillium. Gloomy muffles day and rain. Frogs swallow rain with song and cold. But I, spark, dark, fragment of sunsight, bumblebee of glum night, sea, bent tree, alone. Me, extinct, save soul, we share Mother Earth.
As Harley mentioned, that poem was published in the Piedmont Trillium. Trillium is now accepting submissions for its creative writing section of the 2018 issue. Deadline for that is February 26th, so send your submissions to trilliumjournal@gmail.com. For more information, contact Dr. Timothy O'Keefe. The first poem you read seems to address identity right off the bat, and you kind of mentioned that you have multiple selves.
So this next song will actually really do well to follow the first poem that I read just now. I truly think that everybody is composed of different pieces and different selves, different minds, different beings. And the next song, called How to Disappear Completely, is one of the songs that I sort of go to when I feel that I'm sort of sinking, and I truly do wish to disappear completely, but every single time that self that's present does finally sink in or does finally disappear, the next one just comes right out. So in a sense, we're sort of right back where we started, but this poem sort of deals with some of the challenges of how to know which of those selves are real. What is the difference between awareness and knowing? How do we determine how we separate ourselves and identify ourselves when we have all these means and methods of communication? We have maps, and sure, you can sort of try and map yourself out, but that's only looking on one plane. What's next?
That that's not me. I go where I please. I walk through walls. I float down the living. I'm not here.
listening to the Sunday Bummer Club on Z98.7 FM. I'm Paige Dukes, and that track you just heard was How to Disappear Completely by Radiohead. I'm in the studio with Piedmont alum Harley Palmer, and she chose that track for us tonight. Harley, why did you pick that particular song?
So definitely Radiohead fits with the Sunday Bummer Club, but I chose that song because I found that it spoke most with the pieces that I was going to be sharing with you tonight. And again, it sort of speaks to some of the struggles and battles that I have in myself, and looking at different pieces of selves and who and what do I want to keep, what do I want to push away, is that how I want to be, and do I really have a choice? So this battle of disappearing but always being there is kind of represented in that particular song.
Would you read us another poem?
Sure, I have two more that I came prepared with tonight. This first one's going to be rather short, and the next one a little longer. And I think we'll go ahead and get the short one out of the way because it seems to be the most upbeat for this rainy, gloomy day. This poem is called This Is Not a Tree. This is not a tree. Legs of earth, toes to the sky, fingers rooted in the oversoul. Breeze comb through my farming fragments. It's just outside of your front door. Bam! Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful eggs.
I love how this poem starts and ends with legs. It's like they're straddling the poem.
So I know I said it's totally not a tree, but when I wrote this poem, I was sitting alongside my favorite tree, which is in Demarest Park, and I find that if I just sort of lay myself against it, we fit each other's bodies quite perfectly. For this poem, I had been sitting at her trunk and was sort of digging my fingers into the soil, and then thinking about myself alongside this tree. So we have, the tree really is sort of like a human being, but the structure would be all different. Fingers would be the roots that keep it into the soil, and its legs are the branches that lift up, with the trunk of the tree being the body, and then the branches extend upwards. And so legs on either side, as you mentioned when we were talking earlier, they sort of straddled the poem. And I like this because the oversoul is that which brings all things together, living and unliving, but trees and humans are both living, and so we intertwine and we extend up and down in unison with each other.
So you have one more for us?
So I have one more. This poem is called Thursday, spelt Thurstday. Thursday. Thoughts fall like rain, sinking in through my scalp and burning holes in my mind. Suffering, screaming, scratching and bleeding, I burn, 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 burn. It is my own soul that destroys me, soul searching, running, souls worn thin. King, running and thinking, solo, solo and so low as I look back and wish to fall. Looking back, but not searching, learning, but not knowing. Eo ipso tempore, memories fill the scorched craters, and my thoughts are drowning in pools collecting inevitably. Pulsing and impulsive hands push against these rain-streaked walls. Inside and out, pause, pause, pausing for a moment of relief, yawning for clarity so brief and ever-changing. Hollow are these eyes, because hollow are those which lie, best intentions and all things considered to the best of my abilities. Please don't ask about my day. I'm thirsty, and I wish this rain would wash itself away, leaving no puddles behind, for that would require sunshine. You should see a soul shine. It's better than sunshine. It's better than moonshine. It's damn sure better than the rain. Until next time.
This is my favorite. I'm so glad that you saved it for last. There's so many things I want to ask about, and one of those is the line, please don't ask about my day.
So please don't ask about my day. So the poem is addressing Thursday and is signed by, so the speaker of the poem is Time. Thursday follows Wednesday, which is nearing the end of the week. So we thirst for more before the week comes to its close. We have Friday. It's sort of this suspended in-between state. But time doesn't really have any reason for you to ask about its day. I mean, why ask how annoying it would be when every moment or second or day or minute or second sort of blends with both being there and not being there. Time sees its own constraints and its presence and disappearance. But there are also a lot of other little bits that time sort of pays attention to in this addressing of to Thursday. So we have looking but not searching, and learning but not knowing. Time spends all of its time looking at everything that happens. Time is a part of everybody's life, but looking and learning, it can never know, it can never search, because all of those things will be changing as moments pass. What was true is no longer true because it only once was. It can never be again. Not as everything in the universe aligned to allow the first thing to be. Next, eo ipso tempore, in this very moment, memories fill the scorched craters. I think also that it's important to notice that the end of the poem, that it is signed by time, because we have Thursday and the start of the poem approaching the end, so time is always that pressure, it is always that which we are trying to meet. It's a constant constraint, it's a construction. As the end of the poem nears, time nears, and everything becomes heavy, bringing us back around to Thursday, that place right after Wednesday and before Friday.
Harley, thank you so much for coming on the show. It has been such a pleasure.
Thanks for having me, Paige. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed speaking with the rain.
Harley Palmer, Piedmont alum on the Sunday Bummer Club. Next, I'm going to get back into some music. Lucy, this one's for you.
Take all the time that you need, but think you better find me. I'm down in a well or a field, think you better find me. I can't listen to neighbors speak, no, I can't take no more. I can't listen to the leaves speak, no, I can't take it no more.
That was Canadian band The Organ with Even in the Night off of their EP Thieves. And to wrap us up on this evening's edition of the Sunday Bummer Club, I've got a little John Coltrane for you with a track that he named for his wife, Naima. Train with Naima. Wrapping up this episode of the Sunday Bummer Club. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you'll be back next week. I'm Paige Dukes, and you're listening to Z98.7 FM, the student-run radio station at Piedmont College, WPCZ.
Thanks for listening to the Sunday Bummer Club on Z98.7 FM.